which they said could only be cut by something like 16%. And that was Fund for Student Success, which includes Point 10, Merced, CalWorks, Nursing Support, Disabled Students, EOP&S. Then they took some others that they cut by 32%, but they said these, you could shift money around. You couldn't take it out of categorical programs, but you could shift the money around within the categorical programs as long as you explained it or made a presentation, a public presentation in a board meeting. That included such things as academic senate, child care tax bailout, equal employment opportunity, economic development, apprenticeship, part-time faculty office hours, part-time faculty health insurance, part-time faculty compensation, transfer education and articulation, and matriculation. Now, physical plan and instructional support, which was a categorical program, was reduced to 0 because they felt in tough times that maybe the instructional plan, the maintenance. Now, that doesn't mean that money can't go to those things, but it means that the state is not allocating money specifically for those items. Now, I may have confused you. It is very confusing. What I said is, in some of these, there's the possibility of shifting money around. And in others, they can only be cut by so much. They can be added to, but they can't be cut beyond that. Like, take something like disabled students, for instance. It can be reduced by 19%. It is reduced by 19%. You could add to that, but you could never, next year you can't make a cut beyond that in the disabled student program.
Okay, thank you. Next question. I am concerned that we are ignoring, underlined, the fact that 61 of our adjunct faculty have lost their courses. These folks are already exploited. How can we show more concern for these important members of our community?
All right, that's a very good question, and let me try to explain the situation. When the state of California reduces the money that it gives to Merced College, or to Pasadena City College, or to De Anza College, all of those colleges are going to have to make some cuts. And one of the places that they have to make, or it makes sense for them to make cuts, is to make some reduction in the schedule. Because otherwise you're going to be educating a lot of students for which you get no pay at all. And so I've often said, you just have to say to the people, when you say we're no longer offering these courses, you'll have to say to the people, in effect, that's because that's what the governor and the legislature dictated to us. When you have an 8% cut in your funding, you can't do everything you did before. So all the colleges will reduce their schedule. And why is it that the adjunct faculty are the ones that are reduced? Well, they're the ones for which you do not have a contractual obligation. I don't think the last thing you want to do at Merced College, at least it was the last, and I know it's true at this college, but when I was true at Pasadena City College, we didn't want to start laying off our full-time faculty and staff. We wanted to give people the security of a job that they had committed. So those who are adjunct faculty are aware that every semester, that's a commitment for that semester. It's not an ongoing commitment. And if an institution has to reduce its offering, has to do that because it doesn't want to bankrupt itself. If an institution just was sort of mindlessly said, we're just going to keep offering all these courses and we're not getting paid for them and we're having to pay adjunct faculty salaries for it and everything, that could lead, frankly, to bankruptcy. So it's not a matter of what an institution wants to do. I think most community colleges, if the state of California would finance the community colleges, are glad to open their doors to everyone. So any kind of decision that's made along that line is not made on the basis of the fact that there's some heartless person who has no concern. It's made on the basis this institution, from what I can gather, has been operating very well fiscally. And as a result, they are able to get through this very tough time without doing drastic things like layoffs and things of that nature. But there's no way that it can continue to offer as much of the schedule as it did before, because it's very clear that there will be no remuneration for that.
Why do certificates of achievement take so long to approve?
Certificates of achievement I'm sorry, I'm not, I missed that some way or another. I guess, are we talking about, are you talking about new programs that are approved at the state level? I'm sure that, I don't know, perhaps the certificates, new certificate programs, if you're talking about new technological certificate programs, it has to be weighed very carefully. Number one, is there a demand out there? Number two, we don't want over-duplication. In other words, you don't want a dental hygiene program offered at one college and then the same college, another college offers the dental hygiene program, say 10 miles away or something like that. So some of these, they have to look at the possibility of duplication. Is the demand there? And I'm assuming maybe you're talking about certificate programs. I'm not sure what that, maybe achievement meant something else. Go ahead.
Okay, next question. Could we think about charter schools for community colleges, or let programs have a charter option outside of the many community college regulations?
Well, there's some discussion on the possibility of 3 or 4 community colleges which would like to have what's called an accelerated learning college to give them some possibility of some pilot program. And I think that's a possibility. It would have to be sure that it would have to go through the legislative process. I served as both an assembly member and a senator, and I can tell you that the legislative process is deliberately slow. In fact, probably some of you heard the old song that says, he who loves sausage and respects the law should watch neither one being made.
That's good.